Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Guys at Magic. This is Hunter, Riley, Steven, and Shane. Say what up, guys. Good evening.
Is it Tidus or Titus?
What's up, nerds?
We believe it's Tidus, or something like that. This is Commander Grades. Welcome back. What is Commander Grades? Well, we go ahead and talk about the legendary creatures from the set and talk about them as a potential commander. But this episode is going to be all about the Counter Blitz Precon deck from the newest set of Final Fantasy. So strap in, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't, because we're almost at 20,000 subs. That would be really cool if we hit that soon. So thank you for subscribing. But let's go ahead and get straight into this because we got a lot of legends to talk about. First and foremost, it is helmed by none other than Tidus, Yuna's Guardian. It is a green, white, and blue for a 3/3 legendary creature human warrior. It says at the beginning of combat on your turn, you may move a counter from target creature you control onto a second target creature you control. Also has cheer, which means whenever one or more creatures you control with counters on them deal combat damage to a player, you may draw a card and proliferate. Do this only once each turn. Steven, you were the
Hunter.
person that upgraded the Counter Blitz deck using Tidus and Yuna at the helm. We will get to Yuna in a minute. How do you feel about Tidus?
Yeah, so Titus is amazing. Sorry, I had to say that. No, Titus is really good though. I'm not really a Bant player. It's not really like the color pie that I gravitate to the most when I play Magic. But this was an extremely fun deck to build and play. It is perfect CMC for me with 3 mana. I think the power is great, and its abilities are fantastic. Just being able to move counters, and it doesn't specifically say +1/+1 counter, so you can move a insane amount of different versatility to your board pretty much whenever you want. And by whenever you want, I mean pretty much at combat. But there's definitely tons of ways to build it to where you can do other things, and it's so versatile. It's not even funny. It gets out of hand. Proliferation in this color format is just insane. It is great. I honestly can continue talking about it for another 30 minutes, but I'd rather not.
Yeah, I think it's very cool. As the counter guy, hello. Um,
Hi.
moving
Hi.
counters from one to another and then just getting value off of combat damage with counters is my bread and butter, honestly. Like, this is what I want to do when it comes to playing counters. And hey, like you said, Steven, it doesn't have to just be +1/+1 counters, even though probably most people will build it that way because it's the easiest kind of counter to do. There are flying counters and other kind of counters, and I am super here for this. Go
Don't
ahead.
forget, Hunter. You can play with poison counters. You want to be mean.
You can play with poison counters all you want because the second half of that card does proliferate. You can't move poison counters, but that'd be
No.
cool. Um, -1/-1 counters you could do too.
True.
Not really much in this color combination, but hey,
I like drawing cards. I like proliferating. I like this card.
right.
Yeah, this the way you can build this deck, just with the certain support pieces in it is fantastic, and just being able to put, I know you just said flying counters, but shield counters is great. Indestructible counters, you can proliferate those and then be able to move those in your next phase, so that way your entire board could slowly start becoming indestructible. Is just insane. Also hexproof. It really is cool. It's just as a mechanic to be able to just move whatever kind of counters is pretty awesome. So it's super strong.
It works really well with like a hardened scales and stuff like that because you're taking one
Mhm.
and then you're putting two. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, the only downfall of this deck is once a board wipe happens, if you don't have pieces on your board to provide those counters, this deck really does absolutely nothing. Because Tidus on his own, huh? I switched it. You see that?
Okay.
Tidus on his own just doesn't really do anything unless you have counters to distribute. And you are only able to move from creature to creature. So if you have like an artifact, like I threw Thieves' Tool into my deck, and it basically puts counters onto things when they come into the battlefield, it won't really pop off. It'll take you a little while to get back up. So like it's very important to just do your thing as fast as possible and do as much damage, because you're going to get board wiped soon, because your opponents are going to be like, I need to stop Tidus Titus.
don't know if I really have anything else to add. You guys kind of gone over this in a lot of detail. I think I'm ready for grades.
Same.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and move on to the grades. We'll start with Steven.
Yeah, I mean, I want to give this an A. I usually always give my commanders that I build an A, but I will have to give this a B just because it does like if your opponents stop the board state, it grinds to a halt almost.
Yeah, Tidus for me is getting a B.
I'm actually not very impressed with this card, nor just like the overall play pattern. I love that they are experimenting around with potential new space of caring about counters that are not just the +1/+1, but it's a little too slow and snowbally for me. I'm gonna give this a C.
I think I'm also gonna just stay in the middle of the road there. I'm gonna give it a C.
Well, Tidus gets the average grade of a B.
Good.
Moving on to the backup of Counter Blitz, it's Yuna Grand Summoner. It is 1 green, white, and blue for a 1/5 legendary creature human cleric. It's got Grand Summon, which means you can tap it to add 1 mana of any color, and when you next cast a creature spell this turn, that creature enters with 2 additional +1/+1 counters on it. And whenever another permanent you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, if it had 1 or more counters on it, you may put that number of +1/+1 counters on target creature. Once again, a reminder, Steven did both the face and the backup versions of this card, or this deck, should I say. If you wanted to see those, description below. Steven, Yuna, Grand Summoner, you built it in a way of kind of a combo. How do you feel about Yuna?
That wasn't kind of. It was a combo deck. Yuna's an absolute banger of a card. It does the thing you want it to do. The only thing that I hate about it is it doesn't have haste, so you can't really combo off as soon as you get this down. But Concordant Crossroads is green. You can throw that in. I'm always so fearful of throwing that card into my decks because it gives your opponents haste as well. But this as a card, even if you're not building it combo wise, is fantastic. It's a mana dork that puts counters on your creatures, and then also when those counters go away, it's basically like an Ozolith in a weird way. It's honestly fantastic, and for the color pie that's in here, for the tutors and the combo potential, it's just so strong.
Yeah, actually, I do like Yuna quite a bit. I don't necessarily think that she really needs haste. I know that you can build to the combo route. I'm more so just like general mid-rangey bant with a commander like this, and I think that she does a really good job with that. Having the ability to make your team huge, and then also one of your opponents use removal against your team, it doesn't really matter because you're moving those counters, assuming that they're going to the graveyard. It's a really cool effect. I'm actually a big fan of this one. It's just like a +1/+1 counters, build your board kind of commander.
I do agree. I would play it mid range. I'm not a combo player, but I I think the one downside I will say, great comparison to the Ozolith, completely understand. But this commander makes me think that it's just gonna be board wipe after board wipe after board wipe. That's the only way to kind of get rid of those counters. So you might not see a lot of spot, you might see a lot of board, and you're just sad at that point.
Yeah, I absolutely in agreement with all of you. I'm not a combo player either, but I can see the potential to make this a combo. Obviously, Steven, definitely seen the combo work. But I'm not that player, and this is just good old-fashioned counters. Count me in. This is a lot of just like stuff I want to do. You guys keep mentioning the Ozolith. Yeah, Ozolith in your command zone seems pretty good to me. But granted, if this is removed, then you don't have that. But you probably throw Ozolith in this.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the grades. We'll start with Steven.
Yeah, this one is an A for me. As a combo player, this being basically a huge combo piece for the deck in your command zone, and you having the protection of the tutors, I think this is fantastic.
I agree with you. This speaks to my counter player heart. And this is an A.
I'm going to give this a B. I think this is a really solid option. I just don't think this is a kill on sight commander.
Oh, we're back to back. I agree. B.
Yuna Grand Summoner gets the average grade of an A. Moving on to the legends of the deck besides the face and the backup. Our first one, Auron, Venerated Guardian. 3 and a white for a 2/5 legendary creature human spirit samurai. It's got vigilance and shooting star, which means whenever Auron attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on it. When you do, exile target creature defending player controls with power less than Auron's power until Auron leaves the battlefield.
This
It's
be
just a
Auron.
Yeah, I was like,
It could be
Auron?
Sure, we'll call it Auron, Aaron, whatever. Auron. There you go. It's a
Well, Keen and
Pac-Man.
Peele taught me how to spell Aaron.
That's not how you do it. I don't know. It seems like a scary commander because it's going to remove some stuff and then they just remove this and they get it all back. So it's like
Yep.
incentivizing your stuff to die.
There you go. It is a massive hate bear. It is a fiend hunter in the command zone. No.
Yeah, it's just Waka Waka Pac-Man, just trying to eat up everything. It's just gonna get sad when the ghost comes into town.
Yeah, like it's so funny because like they have the mono white commanders that will, basically take things that are on your board, not just your opponent's board. And those are so much better because you can build them in such a better way. This just saying defending player really turns this card off for me. Like it's kind of cool as a support piece in the Tidus deck, but like this being at the helm of my deck, I absolutely don't want it. This is 4 mana. It's going to die almost immediately because I don't know why, but opponents hate when you touch their stuff.
I don't know why. Yeah, I don't think we're high on this card at all. Let's just really quickly move to grades. We will start with Riley. Riley, what is Auron?
It's an F.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to give it an F as well.
Yeah, this is a big old F because this is going to cost like 20 mana by the end of the game.
Oh, that means Hunter loves this card. It's an F.
The average grade of Auron, a Venerated Guardian, is an F. Next up is a tag team, if you will. This is Gatta and Luzzu. It's 2 and a white for a 1/1 legendary creature human soldier. It has flash and says whenever it enters, choose target creature you control. If damage would be dealt to that creature this turn, prevent that damage and put that many +1/+1 counters on it. This is a support piece. This is not a commander. Your opponents will see this from a mile away, sitting in the command zone with flash. It's not going to work.
Cool support piece, though.
Yeah, it's a cool
Yeah.
support piece.
It is. We've seen these kinds of effects before.
Yeah.
Is it a bonus that you have it in the command zone? No.
It's a one-time primal figure effect.
A cool
So-
support piece.
That's all it is, right, Steven?
Yes and no. I mean, I do like the flexibility of being able to have a 3 mana protect your attacker or even blocker. I think that's kind of nice. I don't really know. I mean, because like also as it enters, like you can choose this as the creature. It doesn't say other creature you control. So I think that being able to have like that flexibility, if like there's a board wipe, you have 3 mana open, somebody's swinging like a 20/20, no trample, thank God. You're able to kind of flash this in and protect it. So I think that's kind of cool too. It's got some flexibility. It is more of a support piece. I'm not denying that, but I do think that there is some room as a commander.
I don't think there is. Let's go ahead and move on to the grades. You're probably highest, Steven. I want to hear it.
I mean, I'm highest, but I'm still out of C.
That's higher than me.
Yeah.
Steven talked me up. I'm going to give it a D.
Yeah, it's a D.
I didn't get talked up at all. I'm still at an F.
Gatta and Luzzu gets the average grade of a D. Next up is Kimahri, Valiant Guardian. It's 2 green and blue for a 3/3 legendary creature cat warrior. It's got vigilance and Ronso Rage, which means at the beginning of combat on your turn, put a +1/+1 counter on Kimahri and tap target creature an opponent controls. Then you may have Kimahri become a copy of that creature, except its name is Kimahri Valiant Guardian and has vigilance and this ability. There's a lot going on for this Simic card, Shane.
I like Simic, and I could see a world where I'm going to get a lot of hate because I'm going to grow this guy and tap the big threat, if there is one, hopefully, and then swing in with the big threat.
Yeah, Shane, I think that's kind of where I get turned off by this card. I will say maybe like 80% of the time there's always a threat on the board, but I'd say most of the time there's really not. Most games I played, I have like these copy effects, and most of the time I'm copying my creatures. This specifically says opponent's creatures. So that's good and bad in its own right. You can't really copy cool stuff on your board because this doesn't have like the weird legendary creature rule. But if your opponent just has like a couple like 2/2s, I mean, essentially you're just tapping a creature down you're gonna get in for some damage, thankfully. But I mean, other than that,
It is a May, so I mean, if they have something that's
yeah.
bad, you're just tapping down a creature just to get in with damage, and that's pretty cool. Obviously, the best case scenario is you tap down one of your opponent's creatures that have an attack trigger. That's like, I'm here for that. But I think the card's pretty cool.
I
I like
mean,
this
but
one a lot.
I don't. Sorry, I guess your point just kind of like confused me. Like an attack trigger, like when I attack, because this is basically when at the beginning of combat on your turn. So like they're just going to untap on their turn and just be able to swing with that creature that has the attack trigger.
But you would get the
You're
attack trigger.
copying the trigger.
But you're copying.
Oh, you're saying you're copying their attack
Yeah,
trigger. Got you.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I like this. It's relatively cheap. It's Simic. It's in a good color combination. I love the fact that this thing has vigilance on it, so I can play aggressive with it and not have to worry about having to think back for blocks. So I like this card a lot. Also, something to keep in mind here is it becomes a copy of whatever it is that you just chose, and it does not change back to, or it doesn't like revert at the end of the turn. It stays whatever it is that you picked. So if your opponent has a big scary thing, you now have a big scary thing that grows, has vigilance, and can later on become something even bigger.
True.
Yeah. It's a bit of a snowbally effect. I think it's pretty cool. Let's go ahead and move on to the grades. We will start with Shane.
I'm the Simic player. I still think I'm at middle of the road though. I'll give it a C.
I'm going to give this one a B. I kind of like it.
I'm gonna go with my gut here. My gut's telling me C.
I am oddly enough, for some reason, I like this card a lot. I'm going to give it a B.
There we go. Right, let's go. This average grade for Kimahri is a B. Next up is Lord Jyscal Guado. It is 1 and a white for a 2/1 legendary creature, Spirit Cleric. It's got flying. It says at the beginning of each end step, if you put a counter on a creature this turn, investigate.
Good
That
clue.
is, I'm going to say it, Steven. Meh.
No, this is garbage.
I was going to say this is bad.
This is not a good
You guys don't like
commander.
investigating?
There is better ways to draw cards than make something to later pay
Okay,
two
it's a
into.
sec. Yeah, okay, we can move on.
Yep, we're going to be done with this card.
This one's
Already.
a fast one. Let's move straight into the grades. I am giving this an F.
It's an F. It's got flying, but it's an F.
Yeah, I mean, you could put Academy Manufacturer in it, so that makes it basically at least a D, right? It's an F.
Flying for F.
Lord of Squall Guado gets the average grade of an F. Next up is Lulu, Stern Guardian. It's 2 and a blue for a 2/3 legendary creature human wizard. It says whenever an opponent attacks you, choose target creature attacking you. Put a stun counter on that creature. You could pay 3 and a blue to proliferate. That's pretty mean.
Mean, but dude, I love this card for to proliferate. I'd put this in any deck that runs proliferate. I don't know if I make it my commander, maybe, but I would definitely put this in a
It's-
proliferate deck.
If you have a way to make just unlimited blue mana, proliferation is pretty unlimited.
You got unlimited blue mana, you're winning some other way, dude.
Yeah, I'm not looking to infinitely tap my opponent's things down if I'm having an unlimited amount of mana.
That sounds
mean,
awesome.
You can make a giant creature.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's mono blue spells that tap all your opponent's creatures, put stun counters on them too, and just this card just screams like just be mean. It is mono blue, no, and I love this card so much.
What's more no than a stun counter in a blue card, huh?
Yeah,
Like
I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, my thought on this is like, since it's only actually targeting one thing, if your opponent is attacking with multiple things or multiple big threats, it's not really doing a whole lot there. This also, I feel like, kind of runs into the problem with these like don't hit me decks of like, I just won't hit you until I know that I have just lethal on you, to where you could stun my creature down and that's totally fine. It's not taking it out of combat or anything like that. It doesn't matter. A dead player is a dead player.
That's true.
that's true. But when you're doing that kind of strategy against the mono blue player and you're giving them the advantage of continuously being able to draw through their deck and find other pieces or win cons, if you leave that person alone long enough, you might have lethal on your board, but you're not going to get lethal.
I mean, and that's the thing too, though, is that like with those kinds of really aggressive decks, I always talk about like you play with the rabid dog strategy. If you bite onto one person and you just like kind of relentlessly go after them. I feel like this is an excellent version of a commander that's just like, I know I'm gonna hate it, so I'm just gonna kill it before I can ever
Yeah.
put a stun counter on my thing because I have to attack it for the trigger to even go off. So main phase 1, if I know I'm attacking you, kill this, I'll get rid of it, or I'll wait and swing for lethal. I feel like this is one of those commanders that like I understand, yeah, the mono blue player is going to do mono blue things and have counter magic and all that stuff, but being able to fight off a table 3 against 1, and that's kind of where I see this, it's not feasible.
Well, let's go ahead and move on to the grades. Riley, we will start with you.
If the creature did not have to be attacking you, I would be much more interested in this card if it had like a different kind of trigger to go along with it. I'm going to give this a D.
I think it's pretty middle of the road. I'm going to go with a C.
Well, we're all over the place. I'm going to give this a B. I do agree with some points. I don't think this is an A because obviously it doesn't have to attack you. It's only tapping one target creature, or not tapping, but putting a sun counter on it. But the amount of shenanigans that can be pulled in mono blue, I think is fantastic. So I have to give it a little bit of a higher grade.
I love blue. I love proliferate. Still middle of the road, C.
Lulu Stern Guardian gets the average grade of a C. Moving on to Maester Seymour. It's 2 and a green for a 1/3 legendary creature human elf cleric. So at the beginning of combat on your turn, put a number of +1/+1 counters equal to Maester Seymour's power on another target creature you control. You can pay 3 and 2 green Monstrosity X, where X is the number of counters among creatures you control. Could be a lot of counters, right, Steven?
I mean, this is an absolute banger of a card in my mind.
Maybe. I don't know.
I mean, this can get big very quickly. Just grow this with counters itself. I don't know. It seems pretty cool.
I mean, the floor is this is a 3 mana 1/3 that puts 1 counter on a creature at the beginning of combat on your turn. I just, this is mono green. You're going to be doing some counter shenanigans regardless. I think it's super cool. But you can also pay 3 and 2 green for the monstrosity. And I think it's really cool that this has monstrosity X. Most of the time it's like 3 or 5 or some other weird number, but just being able to make this as big as you want before combat, depending on the number of counters you have on your creatures, and then just do the same thing. I feel like you're just going to trample over your opponents.
Interesting. I feel like you could just put this in an elf deck, though. You know what I mean? Like, does it have to be at the head of the elf, though? I don't think it does have to be at the head. Still pretty cool elf, though.
I am Shane, you said exactly what I was going to say. There's other elf commanders that play such a similar line as this, but are more aggressive or just make their stuff bigger. I will say this is an excellent support piece. I'm probably going to pick one of these up and throw it in my Vosha deck.
Oh, damn. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Shane and Riley. I don't know if, I'm making this my elf deck. I think that it doesn't have to be an elf deck. I think that's why I love this card.
Let's go ahead and move on to the grades. We will kick it to Riley first. Maester Seymour.
I'm going to give it a C. It's okay. I think I like it more as support, though.
I'll go ahead and give this a B. I like it. It's good support, but also I think it could be at the helm of a deck pretty easy.
I think I'm in agreement with Riley here. I'm going to give Maester a C.
I'm going to give this a C as well.
Maester Seymour gets the average grade of a C. Next up is Wakka, Traveling Merchant. 1 and a blue for a 1/2 legendary creature human citizen. It has an ability you can tap it, remove a counter from a non-land permanent you control, draw a card.
Whoa. Card draw wins games. This card's nuts.
Card draw stable on a
card's awful.
commander?
Not only does this card draw you cards, it also removes the stun counter from the creature that the other card put on, and it draws you a card.
Yeah, watch out.
I'm pogging
Fixing
out right
things.
now, dude.
Like this ultimate silver bullet against Lulu.
Ultimate silver bullet.
Blue
Yep,
bullet.
every time I see a Lulu deck, I'm just going to bring out Wakka.
Yep. There you go.
You playing Lulu?
Yep.
Guess what I'm playing. Yeah, we're all joking. This is not good. Let's go ahead and move on to the grades. We will start with myself. This is a F.
Oh, you said A for a minute.
F.
It's an F.
Sure. Doesn't do anything. F.
Wakka, traveling merchant, average grade, F. This next creature is Rikku, Resourceful Guardian. It's 2 and a blue for a 2/3 legendary creature human artificer. It says whenever you put 1 or more counters on a creature until end of turn, that creature can't be blocked by creatures your opponents control. It also has Steal. For 1 mana, you can tap it, move a counter from target creature and opponent controls onto target creature you control. Activate only as a sorcery. It's kind of cool.
No, it's
Sure.
not.
I'm gonna steal your
What?
counter and you'll be bombed.
I mean, whenever counters get put on a creature, they just can't be blocked. That seems pretty busted.
In mono
Sure.
blue, though?
I mean, in mono blue, yeah, good point. But it's still cool.
It's a cool
Sure.
support piece.
Yeah, but you're banking on hoping your opponents have counters on their stuff if you are just playing this as your commander.
I mean,
Oh, the
that's only
stealing part?
steal part.
Yeah, I think the steal is just a bonus. I think Hunter's eye is gravitating towards that first text box there. I think that's really the power of this card.
That
However,
is powerful.
I still think it's much better as a support piece. Like if I could have access to green where I could reliably put counters on my permanents, or if I had access to white where I had things like Cathar's Crusade to just go absolutely insane. Yeah, I love that
Oops.
kind of stuff.
Oops, my whole team can't be blocked.
Dude, you could put this on that
That is-
other Mimic guy we just saw that puts a counter on himself.
Yeah.
And then he has Vigilance, so you're not blocking anyways. Yeah, I definitely am adding a color to this. I'm not playing this as a commander.
You guys are right. This is
Yeah.
a better support piece, but it is so powerful as a support piece. Let's move on to the grades. We'll start with Steven.
Because it is so powerful as a support piece. As a commander, I will give this an F.
I can't do that. I'm going to stick middle of the road and go C.
You went up high.
Yeah.
I'm actually not super high on this. I'm gonna go with a D.
Yeah, I figured D was good.
Rico, Resourceful Guardian, gets the average grade of a D. Next up is Shelinda, Yevon, Acolyte. It's a green and a white for a 2/2 legendary creature, human cleric. It's got lifelink. It says whenever another creature you control enters, put a +1/+1 counter on that creature if its power is less than Shelinda's power. Otherwise, you put a +1/+1 counter on Shelinda. That's
Hmm.
interesting, Riley. I don't know about this one.
I like how it is 2 mana. It's incredibly cheap. It bumps up your team or it bumps up itself. I just feel like the teeter-totter back and forth is something that I don't know if I want to be doing.
Eventually, the
Yeah.
teeter-totter back and forth won't happen back and forth. It's only going to grow the creatures that are coming in because this will be too big.
Kind of feel like this is a good enough
Um,
support piece.
Once again, probably why it's in this deck. Pretty good support piece. Kind of weird. It has lifelink. Would have preferred this card to maybe have trample. That would have been cool. But character
Belinda does not look
probably
like
not.
getting
Just
through with
trampling.
those hands.
Yeah.
She doesn't know what to do with those hands.
This would be, like I said, a support piece. It'd go really good in, there was like a support backrow commander that cared about bears and tutus and growing their base power until it's bigger. This would be perfect in that deck. I don't remember the name of that card though.
Talking about a lot of support.
A lot of
A
support.
lot of support. A lot of support. Let's move on to the grades. It's a D.
It's a D.
It's a D.
It's a D.
Shelinda, Yevon, Acolyte gets the average grade of a D. Moving on to Sin, Unending Cataclysm. It's 5 green and blue for a 5/5 legendary creature, Leviathan Avatar. It's got flying and trample. It says, as Sin enters, remove all counters from any number of artifacts, creatures, and enchantments. Sin enters with X +1/+1 counters on it, where X is twice the number of counters removed this way. When Sin dies, put its counters on target creature you control, then shuffle this card into his owner's library. That is an interesting commander, Steven.
Yeah, so I love Sin. I'll be honest with you. I took it out of the deck, but this is a really cool commander to kind of build around. It is so expensive. So expensive at 7 mana, but you're doing Simic things, you know? I don't look at that too hard, but 7 mana, regardless, is pretty expensive. The one thing I'm not a huge fan of on Sin is you're going to get the ETB regardless, right? So you get to remove all those counters. With that ETB on the stack, they could just remove Sin, and then all those counters basically just get removed, and you cannot put those on anything else. So it's a little unfortunate in that aspect. So this is like one of those things where like you cast this for 7, you probably don't have any extra mana to help protect it because it's 7 mana. And then you're removing everything on the board, and then somebody's just like, nope.
It'd be cool if it said remove all counters from artifacts, creatures, enchantments, and players. I think that would be a pretty interesting stipulation for those that are running energy or something like that. But it also can remove those counters from your opponent's things, which I think is pretty cool. You just straight up
Yes.
just say, hey, you're doing something really cool. Not anymore.
Yep, all their creatures get debuffed. Their sagas go away.
Well, the
Mhm.
saga's reset.
Oh, you know what? You're right. You're right. You're right. I'm sorry.
Probably not going to touch the sagas.
Yeah,
Well, now that I'm thinking about this, logically speaking.
I kind of feel like if I'm going to be playing this reliably, I'm more worried about my stuff than my opponent's stuff. Because, like, my opponents won't always have it, and I could. I can make this guy
Definitely.
really big, I guess, but it just feels weird that I'm taking away from myself.
I mean, you're taking it away yourself to put onto a commander that's got flying
You
and
also,
trample.
yeah, you also don't have to take away from yourself.
Right, but then I'm paying 7 for a 5/5. I mean, I know.
It could be
I think
incredibly powerful. It's just
I think Steven mentioned the biggest thing here earlier too. It's just like for 7 mana, I need this card to have an immediate impact on the game that is going to propel me forward. And as cool as this big beater is, and I love the fact that it has double evasion stapled on here, it's not enough for me.
I
Yeah.
agree with you. It's just too fragile, in my opinion.
Yep.
I don't know.
It gives too many opportunities. Plus, whenever it dies, it's not whenever it leaves, and a lot of removal at this point is exile-based removal. So there's a chance you don't even get the second text box.
Yeah. That's a really unfortunate thing. Let's move on to the grades. We will start with Steven.
I'm gonna give this a C, which is unfortunate. I really wanted this to be good, but just for 7 mana, you might as well just play Cyclonic Rift.
You know what, Steven? I am absolutely in agreement with you. Look at us, huh? C.
Wow, look at you! Thank you so much for just both bolstering me there. I appreciate that.
You know what, Steven? I am absolutely in agreement with you.
Oh,
Well, this is a C.
keep it coming, Shane.
Steven, I don't agree with you at all, but I'm giving it a C.
Oh, okay.
Sin Unending Cataclysm. Guess the average grade. Have a C.
Guess it's been ended.
This next one is Tromell, Seymour's Butler. It's 2 and a green for a 2/3 legendary creature Elf Advisor. It says each other non-token creature you control enters with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. You can pay 1, tap it, proliferate X times, where X is the number of non-token creatures you control that entered this turn. Super interesting, Shane.
Non-token,
ball.
damn. Oh, yeah, definitely elf ball at that point, because you need to have a bunch of bodies that are cheap coming in. Then you're going to proliferate like crazy.
Yeah, the non-token is a little unfortunate, but
Yeah. Kind of want this to be a backup
Hey.
there, like a support piece. I don't know.
If you have like a world effect that gives everything haste that exists in green,
That's
is what
true.
I'm talking about.
I brought this up.
Elf, and then proliferate everything.
That could be nuts.
Your
you're right.
non-tokens.
Yeah,
all the
helps.
dork shoes came in, and then
All the dorks.
Yeah.
I saw Riley do this with Voja pretty recently. where
was
They
aggressive.
played so many dorks.
You know what the difference is, though?
You had a
This
lot of
card
mana.
does not draw you cards, and it's
Mm.
also not this gigantic self-protecting threat.
I mean, yeah, but I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
Ward
you can drop
3,
a bunch of
Vigilance,
dorks.
Trample is pretty good. Also 2 other colors.
Is
You
it
can make a
strong?
bunch of
Yes.
elves. Huge.
Yeah, I agree. It's strong. I don't know how realistically strong it is, though.
Let's go ahead and move on to the grades then. We will start with Riley.
I'm building this as Infect. I'm going to give him a C.
Whoa, infect, huh? Well,
Yeah, bump by infect creatures and have the ability to proliferate anytime a cast or anytime a creature comes in. Well,
Ugh,
non-token, but less burial.
you sounded
gross.
like me with Infect now. This is like Finn the Fangbear.
There you
I'm
go.
gonna agree with you. This is a C for me too.
Yeah, I'll give it a C.
I completely agree with Steven. This is a C.
Hey, look at you. You finally on my train. Choo
Tromell.
choo.
Tromell Seymour's Butler gets the average grade of a C.
Wah, wah.
The final legendary creature from Counter Blitz is Wakka, Devoted Guardian. It's 2 green and white for a 4/4 legendary creature human warrior. It's got reach and trample. It says whenever Wakka deals combat damage to a player, destroy up to 1 target artifact that player controls and put a +1/+1 counter on Wakka. It also has Blitz Ball Captain, which means at the beginning of your end step, if a counter was put on Wakka this turn, put a +1/+1 counter on each other creature you control. This card is nuts. When this card was first spoiled, I think we talked about it in a spoiler video, and I was so on board with it, and I still am. This card is so mean just to go ahead and
Yeah.
get through. It's got trample. It's going to get through and deal combat damage to a player, and you just say, no more soul ring for you. I get a counter for that. Also, since I got a counter for that, I'm putting a counter on my team. This card's nuts.
Hunter, I think you forgot to read one part of this card. Sorry. It says whenever Wakka enters the battlefield, target opponent removes it.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
that's
definitely a
sad.
hate bear for sure.
I disagree. It's building up your board relatively slowly. I feel like, yeah, this could punish somebody if they don't have the ability to block it, but it's a 4/4, at least starting. That's not too terrifyingly large. Also, I have no idea why this card has reach. It's not
Does
blocking.
Got
'cause
the
it could
ball.
because it could jump. I
I
don't
mean,
know.
if it gets big
You
enough, it
could
might block.
throw the ball.
I don't think they were talking about.
The ball that Wakka's about to throw in this photo is going to pummel somebody into the
I
ground.
don't think they were talking about.
Thematically, I
Yeah.
understand that. But from a mechanical standpoint, this card, how many times are you ever going to be like, all right, now I'm going to keep my Wakka back on blocks because that's where I want it?
You don't need to, but you could.
I think this card's nuts. I agree. I think that the fact that you could kill artifacts is cool, Hunter, but you don't even need to. You just put the counter on the dude and then grow your entire board. Like, that's stupid.
I think destroying the artifact is a huge piece of this
Oh,
card.
what I'm saying is it doesn't need to happen. Like, this card is nuts without that even there.
Yeah, I mean, this being green white, it's crazy the things that this can do. It's gonna get in for damage. I understand that it's a 4 mana 4/4. 4/4 is not that big, but this in itself is in a counter themed deck. So obviously it is supposed to be getting +1/+1s and just continuing to grow your this card is amazing. I do love it.
Yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the grades. I will kick us off. I'm a huge fan of this card. It's getting a B.
I thought you were gonna go A, I'll be honest.
You weren't gonna go, hey, wow.
Hey Hunter, I
What's up?
completely agree with you, and I'm gonna be on board with you. I'm gonna give this a B as well.
Thanks, Steven.
It's a good card, but because of the fact that this has unnecessary reach, I'm going to give it a C.
What? It's got an extra keyword that I don't think matters.
You know, I
Giving it a lower grade.
completely agree with Riley. I'm giving it a B.
Wakka Devoted Guardian gets the average grade of a B. And that is going to do it for us today. If you guys liked that video, hit that like button and subscribe because once again, almost at 20,000 subscribers. You don't want to miss out when we do our giveaway. Comment down below. You guys agree with these grades? Maybe you disagreed with these grades. Maybe we were so far off one of these grades you just cannot help yourself, but just type out a comment telling us why because we're always interested to hear your guys' opinions. We like knowing when we're wrong.
Not me.
Maybe not Steven. But in the description, you will find links to the videos of the upgrades for this deck, as well as all of our social media links. Follow us on those as well. And hey, maybe you're watching this at a different time when this video didn't come out, and you wanted to see other grades videos, also in the description. And on the screen right now, those are all of our Patreon subscribers. Thank you guys so much for your added support. Really does mean the world to us. If you guys want to check out what they're seeing, which is not here on YouTube, please check the link in the description as well and consider subscribing. Just check out all of some early access content, exclusive content, and some more cool things. But a special shout out to our Gains Indestructible tier, starting with Aaron Hill,
Aaron Martin,
Ryan Guinella,
Daryl Tripp,
Demarion Turner,
Dr. Rome,
Jimmy Ward,
Kevo,
Larry Killian,
Samuel Abbott,
50 PSGR.
and William Colombo.
You guys are awesome. Appreciate every single one of you. And until the next video, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Peace.
Laters.
all grades are final.
Bye bye.